It's Gianna with Crypto. We're keeping you in the loop on all the latest trends and user crypto blockchain technology. Together, we're building a crypto movement that fights around justice and economic empowerment. Today, we actually have a recurring guest on our show. We have Jesse Williams here. He's the founder of Digital Time Capsule. He actually has a background in bioinformatics. That's what he did his master's in. And then he almost did a PhD, but then he decided to drop that and do this other project called Digital Time Capsule. So if you want to talk about first, in a brief few sentences, what that is, and then we'll dive into the rest of the show.
Yeah. So the Digital Time Capsule is a Web3 application built 100% on chain. So that means the front end and the back end. So the user interface, the server, everything about the app is hosted on chain, on a blockchain. The only blockchain at present that is capable of hosting an entire web app, the Internet Computer Protocol blockchain. The app is basically a private server. So a private server that users can purchase in order to store their personal data and their family's personal data, sentiments, photos, cryptocurrencies. And it's also meant to serve as an app that allows small communities, so users of the app, to be able to form their own small treasury that they can then grow with themselves and their family or whoever they choose to invite to be a member of their treasury. So the goal is to foster community, both financially and and sentimentally, I guess. Yeah, I want people to be able to. My vision for it is that people will be able to use this application to kind of keep an archive of their history, their individual history, their collective history, and by their, I mean the owner of the app and the owner of the app and their community, their friends and family that they choose to allow use of the app. So the goal is to be able to foster community amongst amongst them, and not just in a sentimental way, but in a financial way as well, which is why the treasury is a feature that I'm offering as well.
Before we dive into more of your updates, Jesse, we asked everybody at the beginning of the show, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think the word crypto and why? I know last time you said democracy. Do you have another word today since this is your second time on the show?
I do. And it also ties into democracy. And that word would be accountability. And so a democracy only works successfully well if the voters are educated and hold themselves accountable for the laws, practices, policies, and protocols that they chose to vote into implementation. And so with that being said, cryptocurrencies is, at least as far as I know, in the history of the human species, cryptocurrencies is the first instance in which our money, our currency, the currency that we share at the existential level, that currency is now becoming something that the users collectively and inclusively are equally accountable for maintaining and um, uh, improving over time. And so that's the word that comes to mind. Heavily ties into the word democracy because um, accountability as far as education is necessary. And so, yeah.
I like that. I wanted to ask you, I know last time you were on the show, you mentioned, tying this in with democracy, that you were working on a governance token for your project. Do you have any updates on that?
So yeah, so the project, I actually took a big pivot from the project. So pretty
Right.
much the same thing. The features of the project are still the same. You still get access. You'll still have a treasury. You'll still have all those things. But originally, the way that I was planning on making it a decentralized project is by making it a decentralized autonomous organization. So
Yeah.
the ultimate goal though is that people can trust where their information is stored, and people are not dependent on a single um, opaque entity to keep their data. And so originally I was going to achieve that using via a decentralized autonomous organization. And to do that, I needed a governance token. Um, in the time since we last met, uh, I've pivoted away from it being a DAO, and instead, what I'm doing is I'm making an app, I'm printing it, like multiple copies will be deployed to the internet computer, and then each one of those copies, so each copy consists of a back end and a front end, a server and so you got your server where your data is stored, and that's your security layer. And then you have your user interface with its own URL and like its own web address. Each copy has that. What I'm doing is each copy I deploy, I'm packaging it as an NFT, and I'm selling the entire app. That copy, I'm selling that entire copy of the app as an NFT. The owner of that NFT is the only person who's given access to the application. The owner of the NFT gets to decide who gets access to this application. So hypothetically, if you were to purchase one of the NFTs, you would get your own URL that you can, if you want to, you can buy your own domain name for that URL, and you can call it Gianna and friends dot com. And everybody who goes there will be able to log in. Initially, when they try to log in, they won't be allowed to. It'll say you must request access. Only the owner of the NFT will be allowed to grant access to the application. And so everybody who's using your copy of the application, Gianna Lum and friends, everybody who's using that copy of the application will have to come through you, get your approval. You as the asset owner, the NFT owner, you'll be the one with that privileged authority. Um, you'll also be the one who gets to decide who gets to join your treasury as well. So you'll be able to allow people to join the app without joining the treasury. You might have a friend or cousin who you want to share memories with, but you don't want to, share treasury rights with. And so you might not want to take that extra step and start a treasury with them, but you want to share memories and stuff with them and store your memories together. You'll have that option. You'll have the ability to be able to use your discretion as you choose. It takes away the reliance on a single centralized entity for storing your data, because once I sell you the NFT, I no longer own it. I'm no longer authorized to, so I no longer own that copy of the app either. So once you own the NFT, that instance of the application, if any updates need to be made, you have to give me permission to be able to submit an update on your behalf. Otherwise, I can't make any updates. You're not gonna wake up one day and something's different. Even whether it's a good or a bad thing, you won't wake up and anything has changed unless you previously given someone permission to make an update to that application. With that being said, since you are the application owner, you would also be responsible for the computational resources that the application uses as well. And so you would be responsible for paying whatever it costs for this app to operate. Um, every gigabyte of storage on an internet computer costs about 46 cents per month. So if you and your family had 100 gigabytes of data stored in this application, and that's a lot, meaning if everybody had all of their pictures and all of you all's experiences and stuff, if it's locked on this application, it would cost the collective about $46 a month. Um,
Dollars, cents. It's
what'd you
dollars.
say? It's 46 cent, so 46 cent per gigabyte per month. So
Okay.
100 gigabytes of data, a lot of data. That's what, $46 a month. So I realized that and you only pay for what you use, right? So if you're not using 100 gigs, you're not paying for 100 gigs. Um, I realized that other centralized data storage platforms offer much more. 100 gigs, you might be able to get that for $100, but it also comes, for about $10 a month. But that also comes with the oversight that comes with it. Any security breach that takes place with that centralized data storage company that you chose, that's a breach on your data. Whereas if somebody breaches Gianna Lum and Friends copy of the digital time capsule app, mine, if Jesse Williams and Friends, my copy of the app is just fine. It's a separate server, a separate database, a separate URL, a separate target to attack if I was a bad actor and wanted to attack, digital time capsule applications. I would have to attack each one at a time. There's no programmatic or systematic way for me to breach the application. There's no programmatic or systematic way to breach the application. But even if there was, there would be no way for me to that data breach to affect everybody who owns a copy of the digital time capsule simultaneously. Anybody who wanted to be a bad actor, I would have to attack everybody individually, and um, that layer of inconvenience for stealing, in addition to all the traditional security protocols that take place in order to keep people, keep people from being able to steal from you anyway. That added layer ensures that if you do purchase the application, as long as you're practicing safe, as long as you're practicing, cybersecurity safety and best practices, you can ultimately reduce your chances even further of ever having your data breached. So
They're paying
that's the that's the
process.
pivot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
From DAO. So from DAO, just to summarize it, the pivot goes from one one large entity that holds because originally it was going to be a DAO, which would be one entity. However, decentralized, it would have been an entity, a single entity. And everybody, it would have been transparent, so the code is there, everybody can see the code and everything, and no changes can be made without everybody voting. I changed from that model to a model of everybody gets their own copy, so it's not one centralized database. Everybody gets their own user interface, everybody gets their own URL. You purchase it from me, it's a one-time thing. And any updates that you want, I'll be issuing the updates for free. So I won't charge you again, if you want to come back for an update, or if you need maintenance or anything like that. It'll be a service that's offered for free to the patrons of the application. And as I finish, as more and more features roll out, you'll give me permission. You'll press a button. So there's a button that says, "Hey, I want to, activate support mode," which is where I'm authorized to make changes. You'll be able to press a button, and then you'll be able to receive an update and get all the new features that are to come on the roadmap.
Very cool. Do you want to go over some more things that are on your roadmap now and what you've just been working on these past few months?
Yeah, so at the last time when we met, I had just deployed the beta. So
Remember that?
I
Yeah.
I think we interviewed April 7th. I had deployed the beta April 4th. And at that time, the user interface was really minimalistic. It was buggy. So I had a bunch of bugs that I needed to fix. I had a bunch of infrastructure that I needed to fix, because in order for me to have an app that I can just pass programmatically, like I can't, that's something that you have to code infrastructure to be able to do. Like apps aren't built to just be passed programmatically just because somebody else, if somebody take, like if I transfer an NFT, I transfer ownership of the app. If you own the NFT, you own the app. And once you transfer that ownership as well. To be able to code that functionality, that type of functionality into an application, that took a lot of time. But so that's what I've been doing. I did a whole overhaul of the user interface so that the user interface looks so that the users have a better user experience. Um, I wrote a bunch of documentation, although I still have plenty more to do. Everything that's written has to be documented, both from a user standpoint and from a developer standpoint, for when I do get to the point where I'm ready to start growing the team, or if anybody, sees my project and wants to contribute, I'll need to be able to convey that information to them. So I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, What you see in the application, where that manifests in the application is now there is the stuff that I'm describing to you. There it's possible. So now it's possible for me to pass an application back and forth. Just getting to that point was a lot of work in and of itself. Now I'm able to start hitting the ground running after I've so one last thing I have to do is to create an update, a way to update you all's things. So a way to pass you the updates. So right now, I already created a way for you to opt in or opt out of receiving updates and say whether you want to receive one or whether whether you give that permission or not. Now I have to actually create a way to deliver it because like I said, once you own the app, I no longer own it. I can't just update it anymore. You can give me permission, and once you give me permission, I have to have a way, I have to build a way to deliver that update that it is that you're giving me permission to deliver to you. And so that's the last thing I have to build. And then I got some bugs in the user interface that I have to build, that I have to fix that I'm working on every day. And then at that point, it'll be ready to launch. The NFT will be ready to sell. Users will be able to begin purchasing it. Now, at the time of launch, what will be available in the application, you'll have a journal, so access to the journal feature that you'll be able to use. You'll be able to all the owner controls will be there, so the owner will be able to invite accept people or deny people or anybody previously accepted but maybe they're using too much data, and you as the owner is responsible for paying for it, so you need a way to moderate how much, if anybody is using too much. I have to build out those types of things. So from the last time we spoke, what I've been building out is all the things that make the app able to be sellable, like reproducible, resellable, and all the things that make the app controllable by the owner of the NFT. And so that took a lot. That took a whole lot. But
You
that
can
was like
my users, you can say like, okay, my dad probably won't use that much, but I need to limit my mom's usage to like only this much because every day she keeps trying to put like 100 videos or something. That's something that
right.
you need to do.
Yeah, so at present, not yet. At
Okay.
present, all you can do is say, do you allow them to post anything moving forward, or can they no longer post? In the future, that's a really good question, and that's functionality and usability that I do, that is on the roadmap. So you should be able to say, I want to set how much data they can use, allocate data storage space to different users on there. As the owner, you will be able to do that. At present, that's another thing on the to-do list. So at present, what you have is owner controls, the actual app itself able to be passed back and forth, and then like via NFT, and then you also have the ability to store pictures and videos in the form of a journal entry. So you'll be able to put like, okay, today's date. You'll be able to put you're able to put your location. You're able to say, do I want to lock this from view from myself? So like if you submit a journal entry and you want to say, hey, I want to lock this until this time next year so that I can't view it, I can't see the contents of this journal entry. You'll be able to you can do that currently, and then you can also put pictures and such, pictures and videos in that journal entry. So that's what's current on the roadmap. The treasury, I have to actually build that. I got a lot of the infrastructure built on the back end in order to set up that treasury. I still got a little more to do. And then I also have to code the user interface for that treasury as well. So when you purchase it, the treasury won't yet be available. That's the first thing on the roadmap because that's necessary. That treasury is really important because users are the NFT owner, because like I said, if you don't pay for it, if you don't pay for the computational resources that the app consumes, the app is gonna, like you're responsible for paying that. I need to have a way that is done easily, almost like without having to think, right? You don't want people to have to be able to forget to pay for this month's for the computational resources that their app will consume. And so what I'm gonna do is pull that money. So that'll automatically be pulled from the treasury every month. Every month that'll be pulled from the treasury, and that'll pay for the computational resources that the app consumes. The treasury is replenished by its treasury members. So every month, if you and your family is using about $10 worth of memory every month, that needs to be replenished if it's coming out of the treasury. And that's what the functionality of the treasury is such that people will be able to put in a card and it'll fund that treasury regularly every month. So you and whoever you invite to be a treasury member, you all will automatically every month be invested into you all's shared treasury. Treasury members get rights as well. So if you are contributing to the treasury, even though the app owner gets to decide who joins the treasury, they can't just kick you out. They can't like so once you're in the treasury, you get rights. The app owner can't treasury members get rights to data storage too. So they get a certain amount of data allocation. So there's an entire incentive to be a treasury member. There's an incentive for the app owner to purchase it because this is something that crypto savvy people like you and myself, we can purchase this app as an asset and we can introduce our family and friends to this to the world of crypto via
Yeah.
this asset that we now have. So you'll be able to say, "Hey, mom, dad, whoever, your brother, I got this app for us. It allows us to store our memories. It allows us to store pictures. We can store our cryptocurrency, and it'll have some more features that I'm forgetting right now. But
So that's a great utility to get your friends and family involved and just see visually this is what you can do with crypto and blockchain technology. It doesn't have to be
that's the
this
goal.
intangible thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the goal. I'm building it for myself first and foremost. I'm building it because I want to use my own app. I want to use this treasury. I want to be able to foster cooperation amongst me and my close friends and family in order for us to be able to grow a collective treasury that we can then use when one of us needs access to capital in whatever form or fashion that we need it. We have a lot of financial power between if anybody, if you just look at your own community, we all have a lot of financial power within your unless you're like a hermit with no friends and family. 9 times out of 10 there's two or three people for the most of us, 3 to 5 people that we trust enough to be able to pull some portion of our income with. I'm not saying go and take your life savings and put it all in this app and pull it with everybody else, but you could put $25 a month. You trust at least 3 to 5 people to pull $25 together a month every month. And then after a while, that treasury grows. You all get access. You all have something that you all can now you can take advantage of different swings in the crypto market, or different apps, different layer ones that pop up, and you all can actually, you'll have the capital to actually be able to do those
Mhm.
types of things.
So what happens when you or somebody who's in your treasury dies?
So, good question. So, all right,
That's going to
these are
happen at some point.
these are good questions. So, you're right. So, on the roadmap, this is also in the roadmap.
Yeah.
There's each person will be able to assign a beneficiary, and so
Okay.
a beneficiary. So, first and foremost, if you die without ever having assigned a beneficiary, you would just have to leave like your keys with somebody else, and anybody with your keys will be able to log in and be able to claim your be able to claim your investment on your behalf. So, but let's say you don't want to go through that route. Let's say whoever you want to pass all your capital to upon you passing, whoever you want to pass that to, you can, if they're in that app, so if they're also a user of the app, you can assign them as a beneficiary. They'll be able to make a claim for your funds, and after a wait period, so you get to pick how long does it take in order for them to claim it between the time that they claim these funds and they receive it. So if you say three, because you don't want somebody to be able to from somewhere else, let's say you assign your brother as your beneficiary, but for whatever reason y'all hate each other now, and now he wants to claim all your funds, and just you can't be able to do that. That can't be an option. you need to be able to, as the owner of these funds, you'll be able to say whether somebody gets to claim them or not. If so long passes, so if like 3 months pass or however long you say, how long to delay between the time that the beneficiary makes the claim and they receive the funds. After that time lapses and you haven't responded, you haven't denied that claim, then they get the funds. And so that's how it'll be. That functionality will be coded. Um, does that make sense? Did I explain that?
What about the fees though? Does your beneficiary have to pay those monthly fees then if they're the ones that receive that? Who's
If
gonna
they
pay?
receive, if they, so the monthly fees, now keep in mind that anything that's in the treasury,
Yeah.
those aren't funds that are able to be claimed by the beneficiary. If anybody who wants to claim those funds, because those come with treasury rights, those come with all types of things, they'll have to pass the keys directly. So
Hmm.
if you're a treasury member and you want to future proof your investment, you would it would be the same exact story as if you want to future proof your crypto wallet with any other blockchain. You got to pass the keys along. But if you are a user and you have funds, because the treasury is one wallet, a group wallet, but you have your own personal wallet with its own funds, and it's got its own Ethereum, Bitcoin, Internet Computer Protocol tokens in there. It's got its own in there. Those are the funds that beneficiaries can claim.
So I wanted to know if you're comfortable sharing what have been
Mm.
some of the struggles that you faced with your project these past few months, and how have you been trying to deal with these struggles?
My biggest challenge is that I'm a solo developer. I don't have a team. I I'm not I'm a regular person who learned how to code and learned how to do it well. So I came from the opposite of wealth, and so I don't have access to capital, nor do I have a team. The biggest challenge is that I'm doing it myself. There's a lot of work to be done, and I'm able to do it, but it takes time. And in order to be able to allocate this time to it, I can't work another job. This is full time for me. So I wake up early in the morning and I code for maybe about, if it's a light day, 6 hours. If it's a day where I'm doing if I'm really feeling it, then 12 to 14 hours. So I could spend the almost the entire time that I'm awake. Some days I've spent that time coding. Um, so I can't work a job. I need funding and I need help. That's my biggest challenge. That's been the biggest struggle for me personally. Uh, yeah, it's tough, right? To find blockchain developers is already tough. Most blockchain developers you do find are going to be, well, dApp developers is what I meant to say. To find dApp developers is really tough. Most of them you do find are going to be Ethereum developers or Bitcoin developers or some other blockchain, that's more mainstream. But mostly Ethereum developers is what you find. Um, I'm in an industry where I would benefit largely from a team, but to find a team is the list of people that I can choose from is a subset of a subset of a subset of the population. You got people, and then you got a subset of that is the developers. A subset of that are the dApp developers, and a subset of those dApp developers are dApp developers building on the internet computer blockchain. And so it's really hard to find a team, and then funding. I've set something up that should be able to, if I'm successful, then I won't need a team. As long as I can pay my overhead, then I can continue developing, the app continues growing. I've been able to pay my overhead for the last 13, 14 months of development. I've got maybe about another 2 or 3 months before I can start profiting from my app. And so I'll be able to bring some funds in that'll be able to pay my overhead because my funds are definitely rapidly depleting. Um, but so that's my challenge, right? Funding and doing the work, funding and building a team. But the funding, I won't worry too much about. I mean, the team I don't worry too much about because the scope of my work if I give myself, I can have everything done in 5 years if it's just me. If it's just me, I can have it done in 5 years. 5 years is not that long, plus the 13 months that I've already put into it. So about six years of development. It's not that long to take a project from non-existent to existent and useful and actually patronized by people. So that's not that long in the grand scheme of things. So finding a team is not gonna make or break. Funding will though.
Yeah.
I have to keep my overhead paid for. And I need to, as long as I got internet and a roof over my head and the essentials, then I'm able to keep coding. So that's the big hurdle. But the good news is that even in the event that I do have to find a job. So like find a different job at some company as a software engineer, and I do have to develop for them. I still I can still see myself. I believe I'll be finished with this app within the next 3 to 5 years, completely done. So like all the features that I plan on putting in it, all the functionality, usability, all the sustainability that I want to build for it, all of that will be done within the next 3 to 5 years. Even if I have to work for somebody else, I still have my free time. I still have my weekends. I still have my nights. So um, I believe I'll get it done. But yeah, that's the challenge. Funding is a really big challenge, and getting people like getting the word out too. Now I'm approaching the part in the development of the app where I can actually start generating some funding by selling the app, even though it's not feature complete. It's complete enough for me to reproduce it and for me to deliver those features as I complete them, and for me, for users to upgrade as those features become available and they're stable. So, but I can only produce those funds from selling it if I get the word out, people know about it, and people will actually take interest in it. So I don't know. The challenge is doing all of it at once. Like you got to be if you're soloing anything, you have to be the chief marketing officer, you have to be the chief product officer, you have to be the chief operations officer. Like there's one person doing research and development. There's one person spreading the word about this. There's one person doing the documentation. Like I'm it. So
That's really
like
impressive. You're doing all of that. That's all you.
yeah, it's thank you. Yeah, it's taken a lot, but I found a rhythm that I'm in, right? And so I found a routine. I found something that's like as far as my health and my mental and my physical health, it's my routine is sustainable. I have enough funding to last me until the project reaches market and beyond. And so the next chapter what'll decide if I'm able to continue, if I'm able to receive the funding that I need to continue at full speed, is how it's received once it becomes available to market. If it's well received and people buying it off the shelves, then I don't have to worry about my midterm, my expenses in the medium term. If it's slow, which these things often are, you would know. You started a whole media platform from scratch. Like if it starts slow, then in the medium term, I'll have to cover my expenses one way or another, and that'll probably be end up me just getting a job somewhere. They easy enough to find.
Gotcha. We have to wrap up pretty soon, but I want to know, what are you most excited about that keeps you going, and how can we help you?
I'm most excited for the day that I can present my project to my friends and family, the people who I want to grow a treasury with. I'm most excited for the day that I can present it to them. And within 10 minutes, I have them onboarded and set up as members of my treasury. So that me, as somebody who is a crypto enthusiast, somebody who knows about it, I'm able to, within 10 minutes, onboard anybody of my choosing to a platform that I own, me as the owner of the NFT, not the owner of the app. I don't own because so as the NFT owner, I own this database and this server and this user interface, and I'm able to share it with the people that I want to grow a treasury with, that I want to build community with, that I want to be near. and and the people that I want to store my history with alongside my collective history with, and the ones I want to make history with. So that's what I'm most excited. That's what I'm most excited for, being able to make my own history and 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 like immortalize myself and my friends and family in a platform of this type. So that's
How
what
can
I'm
we
looking forward
get
to.
there? How can we help you succeed? This little YouTube community, and I guess anyone who watches this video today.
That's a good question. So you can help me succeed by I'll give you a link. You can go to my landing page, and the landing page is going to take users to my well, the link is going to take users to my landing page, where users will be able to follow me on whichever social media platform they choose to. You can help me by just keeping an eye out for when the project launches. I'm aiming for Christmas of this year, so 2 months from now.
Coming up.
Um, right, soon, right, soon. Most of it is done. Most of it is done. I just got to fix some bugs, and then I got that upgrade server that I need to build. But you can help by follow me on social media platforms, keeping an eye out for the launch of the application. If this sounds interesting to you, if it sounds like an application that you could see yourself using, you and your family, purchase it. Reach out to me. I will be purchasing each copy. I mean, I will be selling each copy of the app one by one. There's no way for me to programmatically, just like there's no way for me to programmatically upgrade you all's app without you all's permission. Like there's no way to programmatically uh deploy each copy of the app. So I have to deploy it one by one. I have to, create the NFT and then, so long story short, the app is sold one at a time. There won't be any 50 drops, or it won't be I don't have a cap on how many I'm going to sell, but the supply of this app is going to be limited by how many I can deploy in a day. So it's going to be a fairly limited thing, at least over the short term. But you can support by following me. I get off track often, if you haven't noticed.
No worries. But I'll link all your info down below. Just send me the rest of that over. And
Okay.
I'll make sure that everybody gets the info on you so they can support.
Okay,
Yeah. But
perfect.
thank you so much, Jesse. I love just seeing all these projects in the blockchain space continue to grow. And it's awesome to see you 6 months later and just seeing how much you've grown since then. I think like the first time people were like, okay, we clicked on the website, we want to check it out, but like it looks a little buggy. What's going on here? Like, what did you send
Mhm.
me to? So I think you're gonna see a lot more now. There's a lot better of a user interface. And yeah, it's just gonna continue to get better and better. So good luck with everything, Jesse. And I'm looking forward to having you on in the future too, as you continue, maybe after Christmas, if you want to be on the show again, after you have a launch. I'd love to have you here again.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I'd love to come. So I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us today. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Feel free to share this with your friends if you enjoyed this content. And I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.
I was a little.